Okay, so for my project, I chose to do Dig Dug. As you can see at the bottom of the screen, we have two enemy archetypes. This little dragon and another type called well, the dragon is called a Fygar and the other type is a Pukas. So here we are, getting ready to get started. The first thing I notice is we have a very fast-tempoed soundtrack that creates a sense of urgency and a sort of tension for the player. You'll also notice that when the player stops moving, the soundtrack will also stop. So one of the mechanics I just went over, or just used, was the rocks. Anytime you drop a rock on an enemy, it'll automatically cause 1,000 points, or add 1,000 points to the score. And if you drop a rock twice in a level, it'll spawn an item that also gives you bonus points to your score. Now, another mechanic for the scoring, which I thought was kind of interesting, was that the lower you defeat an enemy, the more points it'll give you. So, up here, or rather, at each level, so we see that there's the yellow, the orange, the red, and the brown. The farther down you go, the more points you gain. So here, the Fygar is worth 300 points, but if he was in the yellow, it would only be worth 200 points. Or rather, the Poco. The Fygar here, you get double points if you defeat a Fygar horizontally, because they have the special ability to breathe fire breath, which I thought was pretty cool because they're little dragon-like creatures. So if you defeat it horizontally, then you get double the score of what you would whatever score you would get from it at that level. Another thing, just with the color scheme in general, that I noticed was that it has a very sort of hazardous feel to it. You know, the yellow, orange, red, brown, they're very sort of warning colors, I guess. They're not normally what I think of with a standard environment, but they do match up with the terrestrial levels. And the color scheme also goes into the danger of the elements that we see. For example, with the red rocks, we know the rocks can fall on us and they can fall on the enemies, and they'll kill whatever it falls on. So the designers use the red as a sort of, I guess, warning system, but it makes it stand out and noticeable. And that was my review of Dig Dug.